Welcome back once again. And over transforming the city into a totally green one, we're very delighted to be having with us over the phone our guest, Dr. Mohsen, an energy expert. Good morning, good evening, Dr. Mohsen.
Hello to you and to everybody.
How are you doing, sir? First of all, ever since we have hosted COP27, the climate conference, the 27th climate conference in Sharm el-Sheikh, and have transformed Sharm el-Sheikh in a totally green city. If in your own assessment, sir, and as an environmental and energy expert, what's your own definition of a green city, and how could this happen?
Well, it's very clearly defined internationally. A green city really has three aspects, if you like. A human aspect, the population that occupies that city, the environmental aspect, and the economic aspect. So those are the three legs, if you like, of the definition of a green city.
Right. And how far do you think Egypt have been close to achieving that goal?
Well, before COP27 started, sometime in September this year, the Ministry of Environment has announced officially that the city of El Kharga in the New Valley Governorate is the first green city, totally green city in Egypt. And that was an announcement that was official and that was published everywhere. And it was also discussed during the COP27.
Okay. And that was followed by citizens, especially we're talking about the city of Sharm el-Sheikh. Whoever who have had the opportunity to attend the conference and see the new changes that have been developed in very little time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can give you some examples of the efforts that were taken, if you like, in Sharm el-Sheikh in preparation to hosting COP27. For example, a solar photovoltaic power plant for electricity, clean electricity generation, was set up with a capacity of 20 megawatts, which is quite significant. And that was really officially started before COP27 was in place. And this is one thing, so providing clean electricity. Second thing was providing charging stations for electric vehicles, because there was a large fleet of electricity-driven buses that, of course, needed to have charging stations. So those charging stations were put in place so that the fleet could operate smoothly and without any difficulty. The third thing was to make the coasts of Sharm el-Sheikh and the Corniche, if you like, to make it bicycle-friendly, so people could easily use bicycles to go from one place to another, and so on. So all these measures, if you like, contribute to making a city green.
Right, and this also, in addition to spreading the awareness of to be environmentally friendly, and also the awareness of recycling everywhere you go, with the special colors for how to recycle your leftover and your garbage and everything. I mean, a total new city in very little time. Then we move on to the new administrative capital, if we could say, that have become a model, a real model for environmental and sustainable urban planning by using solar energy, increasing the number of greenery there, and recycling waste, and even let us not also talk about the awareness that is set there. So what's your own assessment about the new administrative capital and how it was planned, and how far have they achieved to be close to the goal of environmentally free and a total green capital.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. There's a lot of measures that are really being established in the new administrative capital. For example, the green River Nile, called River Nile Garden, which is 6 times the surface of the National Park in Washington, D.C. So it is really huge, and it will, if you like, travel across the new administrative capital, therefore allowing access to greenery by the whole population. No matter which district you are in, you will have greenery very close to you, and you will be able to access that, and you will have easy bicycle use, etc., etc. So, of course, in the new capital, there are many, many measures to bring it towards being a green city. I fully agree.
Given the fact that the new administrative capital is going to be a business capital, and it's going to be an entertaining capital, I mean, there are lots of visitors that are expected to be incoming to this capital, and lots of businesses, including restaurants, including entertaining places, and you could instantly understand what could be resulting from these different activities, like violating the environment, like the carbon emission, like the wrong usage of waste and things like that. Do you think this is going to be a challenge in the near future while we start to inaugurate the capital?
Well, there are many measures, like I just said, taken, and also electric transportation, and of course electric transportation has a very big advantage in not producing any pollution where it travels. So there are many, many measures taken in the new administrative capital which will allow the people to have a high quality of living, to be close to greenery, to have access to easy public transportation that is not polluting, to have very good quality water management, be it drinking water or sewage water, etc. This is all taken care of and will be handled really properly and appropriately. So there are so many measures that have been taken in the new capital city that will make it really fulfill much of the requirements that define a green city.
Right. Moving on to Cairo, which is one very heavy mission for the government to transform it into a totally green city, not because it's heavily polluted, but because it's an authentic city, and it's full of heritage, and it's very crowded because of the visitors, and because there is also governmental buildings inside it, and for many concerns. So in your own point of view, what are your suggestions, your smart suggestions or steps that we could take to be able to transform it into a green city?
Well, like you said, Cairo is a very densely populated city. That is, of course, true. And the density of population varies from one district to the other, but on average, it is highly densely populated. And of course, there are measures that the government is undertaking that will increase the quality of living and improve the quality of the air that people breathe. And like you just said yourself, by having so many government buildings and government workers located in Cairo, and moving all this to the new capital together with the workers and their families and so on, because the new capital is really well adapted to welcoming those new people who will live there by having schools, by having hospitals, by having everything that would make their shift from Cairo to the new capital very easy and really upgrading to their living conditions. So by moving the government buildings and the government workers and their families outside of Cairo, this will help in reducing the density of the population of Cairo. And it will improve the air quality because there will be less needs for transportation. You know, all the workers, of course, they have to leave in the morning, go to their offices, and back home in the afternoon. All this will move from Cairo, so that will improve the quality of the air that the citizens of Cairo breathe. It will reduce the density of the population. And of course, we also see that there are many projects in Cairo that are dedicated for receiving the tourists. We see the museums that start to be inaugurated and so on. So that will also improve the experience of the visiting tourists to Cairo and will reduce much of the difficulties that they are actually facing now and have been facing for the last few decades.
Right. One of the very important topics that were raised in COP27 by environmentalists and by people who are concerned and observers, that there are two types of turning a city or turning a country or moving towards a green life. One of them is a country, a developed country, that is committing a crime by transforming all its industries towards the developing world and taking all the industries there, and the carbon emission would be there, and all the pollution would be replaced from the developed country to the developing country, and another country that is looking towards an economic development and industrial development, and also would be prone to pollution. So those are two topics that were raised and raised lots and lots of questions and regulations to be formed. If you like to elaborate.
Well, you are absolutely right. You know, we have many examples even here in Egypt. Like, for example, when you take a look at the cement industry in Egypt, it is very dynamic, very active. But when you see the companies that work, you find Italcimenti. It's an Italian company. So they, instead of building the factories for the cement they need in Italy, they build it here. You have also cement companies from Greece, cement companies from Mexico, from many, many different countries. But the Egyptian government has become aware of the heavy pollution that these factories are causing, and they are starting to solve the problem. You know, for example, in Wadi al-Amr, on the outskirts of Alexandria, there is a cement factory that is causing a lot of health problems to the people living nearby. So the Egyptian government, the Ministry of Environment, and the total government is starting now to fix this problem and to ensure that there will not be the pollution that will endanger the health of the population.
Right. Dr. Amr Mohsen, the energy environmental expert, I'd like to thank you so much talking to Cairo Local Time. And by this, we come to the end of Cairo Local Time. Many thanks to all of you. Until we see you again, that's goodbye.